Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Quick look at Solana, seeing it pull back here, get down 7% at its lowest here. And that's it's unfortunate, but par for the course, right? We got this 0.618, 0.65, this golden pocket rejection, really common retracement level. And of course, Bitcoin topping out at about 63,000 roughly to fill its CME gap. A lot of things that occurred here that are worth mentioning. So we're going to double check a few key factors here and kind of see where we're at. The thing I want to do is firstly give credit to community members. Some of our newer members got some really nice trades here. We got Cardano, Solana, Matic, pretty much a nice sweep here earlier today of XRP, ETH, Link, Cardano, Bitcoin. For those are our swing trades. Correction, those are our day trades rather. Swing trades, we took a nice solid 20% on Bitcoin again as an overnight there. From an average position from 61.5, maybe 61.3, somewhere there. Either way you look at it, what we want to do here is look at the backend data, kind of see what's going on, and just double check some important factors for liquidation. Because when we looked at this yesterday, there was small amounts of liquidation on the downside at 150, which does look like it's probably been hit. We take a look here. There's still a little bit. There's still, wow, actually quite a lot. There's about a 1.2, 1.3 billion at between 149 and upper 150s. Okay, so probably a little bit more downside I would expect from Solana. I think 148 might be a solid bouncing point for us because that has been a previous support zone. Okay, again, 146, 148, that little range there, kind of that upper macro point of control. Okay, so ideally we see a bounce there, but we're going to double check a few things. We'll draw out some new fibs here as well for this current little trend and kind of see where we're at there, and just generally make sure we understand the trend, right? Because the trend is your friend. We can see we saw this rising wedge pattern breakdown with a bearish back test of this horizontal trend line. Basically, this is a more recent resistance level, turned support, turned resistance, and again, we can expect that 155 to be the new shelf. All right, so let's take a look here, see what's going on, and just quickly understand the moving averages. If I recall correctly, we did pretty well with the SMAs yesterday. And it's kind of hard to see on the chart because we got a lot of colors. I apologize for that. But if we see here, here's a 200-day SMA right at 148. That's perfect. That should be a good bouncing point for us. We're holding strong so far at the 50-day SMA, hundreds above us, 20s above us. So once again, I mentioned this previously, getting above the 20 is probably the most important thing for us, just helping us understand that we're on the right side of tracks. Again, the 20-day SMA on the daily to me is probably the most important, just kind of letting us know what direction we're heading. Okay, when we're below it, it's generally considered to be unfavorable. I would not use the word bearish for that, but it's just more so, we haven't broken officially through any kind of resistances, right? We're teetering between or above and below so far on 50 in the RSI, reflecting that resistance at that 0.618 fib level at roughly 165. And we can also see here as well that MACD is trying to converge, but it's starting to lose its momentum again. Okay, so a lot of these things are generally unfavorable, but I wouldn't say this is the worst thing ever either. This is not a bad situation. Yesterday being such a green day, it makes perfect sense that prices are pulling back. And, seeing Bitcoin take its profit is just a normal standard thing on a Friday. We got to get kind of used to that. It's very regular, okay? And we've seen red Fridays, I think, pretty consistently this whole year. Now, when we take a look at the 4-hour, this is when things can get interesting. This is more of a transitionary time frame, my favorite time frame. We can see 50 on the RSI kind of holding for now. Okay, so we are in a support range, which is perfectly sensible considering our local point of control, this area here, this 0.5 fib level, and of course the SMA on the daily, that 50-day SMA. A lot of the 50s are kind of stacking up together to work together. However, MACD is soon to diverge. This is generally unfavorable. When we look at this here, like the last time we had a divergence, for example, it was right here. This is when we diverged on the MACD. Now, again, this is an extreme situation. This is when Bitcoin pulled back quite hard for a significant amount of time. So please don't think that we're just going to do one of these here. But the truth is we're shifting momentum, and when the MACD does diverge, it's common for the price to pull back. Okay, so I would just say expect some kind of potential 130 to 148 revisited here soon. I think that would be sensible thought process. Again, we got some support in this range. Hypothetically, we bounce here moving forward. Bob's your uncle. All done, right? No big deal. Price just keeps going higher. But this all hinges on Bitcoin holding 60,000, and we don't know that that's going to happen yet. Bitcoin does have a solid amount of support in this range, but you got to recognize too that there's a decent chance we lose this ascending trend line for Bitcoin, that we will see that fair value gap get filled as low as 57.5, possibly even retrace down to the 0.5 to fill the other fair value gap at about 55,000. That would make sense to me to see that happen, considering we shouldn't have seen 63,000 yesterday. That was just unreal. Again, unreal things happen in crypto all the time, but I don't know. We're going to need to see a lot of support in this range. We got to build a strong volume base at 60,000, and that kind of correlates here as well at this 148 range for Solana. Okay, so that's what we got there. The hourly, let's go ahead and see. This is probably going to tell us that you probably should have secured profits on your trade. I think I mentioned this last night that you should have done that, but it's okay. Hindsight's 20/20, right? And I'm never right all the time either, by the way. So just because I might have got it right last night doesn't mean I get it right every time. Just a heads up on that. But I can tell you though, at this point, the odds of success are pretty high if you kind of work within the means of this cloud. What I'm getting at here is we're breaking below the cloud, generally a bearish sign, so we should experience further downside if we close at 152 or lower. Furthermore, the lagging span is now free and clear of the price action. This implies bearish momentum, and we're also converting below the baseline here, letting us know the momentum has absolutely shifted. So all this in combination with the 4-hour MACD divergence and Bitcoin barely holding 60,000, I don't know. I think it's a pretty solid chance we're going to see further downside. But once more, you got to recognize, take a look at TD sequential here. We're at a 7. We've overextended ourselves down here for a while, and it's normal for Solana to rally. Okay. In other words, here, if we look at our previous, it's really common to see 8s or 9s, and the price turns itself around. So if that's the case here, with us being at a 7, we probably got a couple more hours before the price recovers swiftly. If this next recovery doesn't break this 155 range, I would say we're going to go down. So me personally, I'm going to maybe consider a short at about 155, 156. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert here and see what it looks like if we get back to that level. Again, we have our local resistance here, that local point of control at 154 to 155. It would seem sensible for the price to reject out and continue lower. Again, I don't think it's going to be monumental, but just say a short from 155, I might take that down to 148 as a rough estimate. Okay, those are just things that I like to look for when I trade this coin. I don't like to short Solana though, I'll be honest with you. We have to have a perfectly confirming scenario for us then at that point. And we're also going to want to compare Bitcoin to Solana. And if you look at this here, Bitcoin is not looking quite as bad as Solana. In other words, Solana is correcting itself harder, which implies Bitcoin loses 60,000. We'll absolutely see this area revisited. Okay. So again, just some scenarios here for you. Hopefully it makes sense and I described that correctly. I deeply appreciate you watching. I can say that. We've got a lot of new members that came over to our premium group, so make sure you read through our signals guide. We got a pretty extensive Discord rather. I do have my charts here as well, some live charts you can follow. Make sure you watch our university videos. Follow the trade alerts too. These are extremely important. These are kind of just letting you know what I'm planning to do with my trade before I take them. But more importantly, signals guide, if you're going to follow my trades, absolutely make sure you pick the appropriate risk tolerance, and if you want to consider some other options, it's all there for you. Either way, it's there. Thanks again for watching. Hope you learned something today. Feel free to reach out. Don't hesitate to message me if you have any questions. Just know I'll never direct message you first. It's a lot of scammers too, please folks. Please know that. I'll never solicit you. Okay, hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you next one. Take care.